What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got a couple updates for you. Got one that's kind of league-wide, and then one that's more Dolphins specific. They had a roster move. They picked somebody up from the CFL, actually, because the CFL shut their season down. We'll get to that in a minute, though. The first thing I want to talk about is the NFL is having testing issues. COVID-19 testing issues, which obviously is a huge problem. So let's go ahead and get into that. Some NFL teams are canceling activities after irregularities in COVID-19 results. Some NFL teams have altered their training camp plans for Sunday based on irregularities in results from COVID-19 testing that took place Saturday for evaluation at a New Jersey lab. Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network provided a statement from the league. Several NFL teams are altering football. Yeah, well, we read all that. Here's a look at updated news from the team. From team and national reporters. The Chicago Bears practice delayed until 1:30 local time. Cleveland Browns practice canceled. Green Bay Packers practice taking place as scheduled. Giants practice remains scheduled for 1 p.m. The Jets practice took place as scheduled, and the Tampa Bay Bucks practicing as scheduled. So it doesn't look like it's really affected most of them, but there are some teams that have decided to alter a little bit. The Browns have canceled altogether. They were the only one. But it is an issue because you have to have reliable testing. First of all, the country in and of itself still doesn't have enough, right? There are rich people who can get it no problem, right? Donald Trump gets tested like several times a fucking day, as does like everybody else in the White House. But they don't have enough for the average folk where, you know, hospitals are still backed up, etc., etc. On top of that, though, you have to have reliable testing. So it's one thing that you don't have enough, right? Now, frankly, I would think that the NFL could certainly secure enough testing, but they have decided that they're only going to test every other day. So, and that's not enough. So they've made the choice not to have enough testing in their programs and in their facilities, right? They said that the first 2 weeks of training camp have passed. That was everyday testing. Then they were going to move to every other day. So you don't have enough testing to start with. Your protocols are not all that great either because they don't really attack the root issues and the root causes. And if it gets into a facility, it's pretty much a wrap at that point. One person bringing it in. Anyway, and then, but on top of that, if your testing isn't reliable, well, then that can just cause all kinds of major issues. Now, there's two things. There's a couple things. One is false positives, which is actually what is being talked about here, but also not picking it up, right? So missing it, or in other words, a false negative, or having a false negative even though, well, I mean, I guess that's the same thing, right? I was going to say even though you already have it, but it's really the same thing. If it just didn't like pick it up, or if you have it and you tested negative anyway, what, it's same thing. So false negatives. So false negatives, false positives. In this case, there's false positives. Now, the issue with that mostly, just pertains to like football and the complications there, right? It's the lesser of the two problems. So what do I mean by that? So if you get a false negative, well, you'll have a player who has to get put on the COVID list, and he might be out for a few days until he tests, I'm sorry, if you have a false positive, then you have to put him on the, list, and he will have to stay there until he tests negative, a couple times. So he'll miss practice, might miss games, blah, blah, blah. So obviously football operations can be drastically affected by false positives. False negatives, though, are worse, because if you had a false negative, then that could allow the virus to get into the building undetected and allow it to spread like wildfire before you know, right? So obviously false positives are less of a problem overall, but still a major issue. The NFL opened training camps on time in July after moving the entire offseason program into a virtual format because of the coronavirus pandemic. The preseason was canceled to limited large-scale interactions until the beginning of the regular season in September. Here's some further information and, just some statements put out by different teams. Let's see. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said in June the league understood more positive tests would arise and stated the league was prepared to adjust plans as needed. And again, we expect we are going to have positive tests, Goodell told reporters. That is part of the increased testing that we will be going through. Okay, hold the fuck on. That statement just really, irritates the shit out of me. Because that last part, right? First of all, it's bad enough that you acknowledge you expect to have... So you acknowledge that people's lives are at risk. And you're happy to take that risk, right? They're at risk because they're at a higher risk of contracting the virus because of the situation they are put in. Because the fact that they are having to come together in large groups, etc., close contact, blah, blah, blah. So if it gets in, it'll spread like wildfire, right? So that's already, upsetting enough that you're just okay with the fact that guys are going to test positive, that there's going to be, other subsequential, whatever, problems. They have to be on the COVID list, missed practice, etc. But then... that is part of the increased testing that we will be going through. Okay, there's two things. One, it's a lie that you've increased testing because, in fact, you did the exact opposite. And they didn't even want to. They didn't even want to do it on a daily basis. But they're like, okay, we'll just give it to you for the first 2 weeks so you guys can shut the fuck up so we can get back going. Because we don't actually give a shit about you. We just want operations to go. So here, we'll test you guys every day for the first 2 weeks, and you guys can fuck off so we can get this going, and then we'll stop with that. Right? So no, it's a lie about increased testing. So that's the first thing. And secondly, he's just parroting a stupid-ass fucking Trump talking point that says you only get more positives or you only get more cases because you do more testing, which is categorically false and dumb as shit. Okay, anyway, sorry. He added, the protocols are stringent. I mean, that's also false. They are designed to be that because they are for the safety of our players and personnel, including coaches. Also, I do not believe for a second that Roger Goodell actually gives two fucks, because he has never, ever legitimately in his time as commissioner of the NFL proven in any circumstance to give a fuck about player safety or any of that bullshit. There's I'm sure you could comb through the millions of decisions he's made as a fucking commissioner. I can't think of him anything off the top of my head right now other than this, because it's what I'm talking about, and I don't exactly follow Roger Goodell's, career very closely, but I guarantee you could find tons and tons and tons of examples of how he has sacrificed safety of the players and coaches, quality of the game, etc., 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 just for fucking, profits of the NFL and the owners. Whatever, dude, he can fuck off. He's a piece of shit. We'll evolve as the circumstances change. We'll be changing our protocols appropriately. Whatever, dude, you're a piece of shit. Alan Sills, the NFL's chief medical officer, described the league's efforts as a very ambitious testing program later in June. I mean, that's also false, though. It's not ambitious. If you're not at a minimum doing it every single day, how can you call that ambitious? I fucking hate these people, and I hate the people that are in charge of everything. They are just such despicable scumbags. I'm sorry, I got really worked up by all this. Can you tell I'm frustrated? Anyway, so far the NFL is... Look, and by the way, just another quick note. People aren't even really watching my channel, and I get it, because they don't want to hear this. They'd rather hear Dudley Do Wrong talk about about training camp and, you know, the bullshit going on there about, oh man, Tua made some good throws today, but he also made some bad ones. Oh my God, we want our star to just be a star immediately. It's killing us inside because he's not being perfect. Ah! Like, fuck all that stupid bullshit, bro. Like, seriously, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna, like, talk about the dumb flowery shit when there are so much more important things to discuss. So look, you know, whatever, man. The message doesn't even really get out because people don't watch it, but whatever. Look, at the end of the day, you guys can, you know, ignore me if you want. Most people do. It's something I'm completely used to. It's happened my entire life. You can dismiss me or you can fucking hate on me because of the things that I have to say. Again, all shit I'm familiar with. But people are going to have to face the music and face reality at some point. Okay, people don't want to fucking listen because I'm too negative or because it's truth that and shit that they don't want to hear. Alright, well, you're going to get slapped in the fucking face by it at some point, and you're going to be hella fucking shocked and surprised then. Okay, so whatever, dude. Man, I'm so fucking fed up with, like, just the whole fucking world in general. The 2020 regular season is scheduled to kick off September 10th with the reigning Super Bowl champs, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, whatever, dude. Like I said, I'm so done with this fucking bullshit world and the people who fucking run it. And then just all the fucking morons, right? Like, the people in power are despicable pieces of shit, and they've created this piece of shit fucking world that we live in just so that way they can remain powerful and control everything and have all the wealth and fucking have a massive fucking slave force, you know, that fucking works for them so they don't have to do a goddamn thing but sit around and fucking rake in billions of dollars. Like, I'm fucking tired of it. But on the other hand, then you have, of course, despicable fucking Republicans that are racist pieces of shit too, right? Misogynists and fucking homophobes, etc., etc. But then you have fucking tons of, you know, so-called Democrats, and you have the politicians that are obvious fascist pieces of shit that don't really give a fuck about the people. They constantly just lie to us. But then you got tons of Democrats that will end up supporting these status quo fucking motherfuckers because they actually get tricked and fooled by their propaganda and bullshit into believing that they're really there for them. So you have all these fucking liberal dickbags that fucking, you know, whatever, that it just, oh God, I can't fucking stand people. Anyway, I am going to move on because this is turning into a whole nother fucking thing, and I want to talk about this CFL player that the Dolphins picked up. Alright, Dolphins signed CFL star Nate Holley. The Miami Dolphins announced Saturday they have signed safety Nate Holley. Holley originally entered the NFL in 2018 when he signed with the Rams. Obviously didn't stick. But to be fair, neither did Cameron Wake when he came into the league, then went to the CFL, and then came back and became a stud. But he signed with the Rams, spent training camp there before the Rams waived him out of the preseason. Obviously, nobody else thought he was worth bringing on, so that is worth mentioning. Holley also spent time with the Nebraska Danger of the Indoor Football League in 2018 and the Calgary Stampeders of the Canadian Football League in 2019, this past year. Here in the CFL's most outstanding rookie following the 2019 season after he made 78 defensive tackles, 22 special team tackles, 1 sack, and 1 interception in 18 games. I mean, especially for the level of competition, right? Because the NFL is the top league. That's where all of the best talent is, period, right? The CFL, no other league, no other football league, American Football League, matches the NFL, right? So lesser competition, if you know, that's where often a lot of college players who don't make it into the NFL will go, right? Anyway, so there's obviously lesser competition. That is worth mentioning. Also, the stats are, they're all right. 78 tackles, all right, fair amount. 22 special teams tackles, sure, whatever. But 1 sack and 1 interception in 18 games? I mean, really? Like, okay. Granted, he's still a young guy, etc., etc. We do need help at safety because that is still, to me, a spot that needs a lot of work. whatever. So we'll see how it plays out. And to be fair, so far, the other guy that they've gotten from the CFL, Sam McGuavin, the linebacker, so far has been pretty solid for them. He's like one of the very few, like, okay evaluations the Dolphins have done. But he still does have a lot of room to grow and you know, a lot of room to improve. He played college football at Kent State and also spent time with the Vikings. He has never played a regular season game, and that's that. Yeah, so anyway, that's what I got for you guys. I'm gonna get up out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspectives. Obviously people don't, so whatever, fuck it, I don't give a shit. If you do though, follow me, blah blah blah, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell if you want to get the alerts, share my channel and videos with your friends and family, leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. Of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon, and with that, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.